everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation. And my guest today is Jeanette Lowry. She's the founder of Jeanette Lowry Academy. She's also a women's transformational recurring income coach. So her work is really amazing because it caught my attention immediately because you've been helping, especially women. And I have to say, not for being, I'm a woman, I'm biased, but we do need guidance when it comes to business and how to grow our lives around society's guidelines. So that's really beautiful what you're doing, Jeanette. And my first question to you is that I think I didn't ask you before, maybe I did. We met before in an audio interview. So what inspired you to do what you're doing today?
My main inspiration is I had done it one time before, back in 1990. I built a business with a lot of women who wanted part-time income. There was no internet, no phones, no cell phones. So I really, 20 years, for 7 years, I built my first business and it paid me for the next 20 years recurring income. So I understood the power of the business model I was working in. And I was able to raise my two kids going through a divorce, unexpected divorce. My kids were 2 and 9. So my heart ached for those women having to work and juggle everything. So when they left the nest, I said, get your behind out of retirement and build a new platform using social media and cell phones, etc. Yeah, that was my inspiration.
Wow.
At 63, I have more energy today than I ever, because I'm so inspired and passionate about this.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. You see, that's what we call empowerment, isn't it? Kind of tapping into our own potential and kind of aligning and learning about our environment and how the system works so we can leverage and somehow grow together. Isn't it the whole point?
Absolutely. Collaboration. Yes.
I live for that. I always make this comment here because everything I do has to do with collaborations and working together.
Yes.
So, and women are very good at that. I know I meet a lot of men here too. I have this community that attracts all kinds of people. And some men are also very much interested in learning more about how to work together. And that's really beautiful to see.
Yes, it is. It is.
Do you also work with men?
I do. It's on the other side of my company, and it's the affiliate marketing side of my company. So a lot of, anybody who works in wellness, health, can have access to the affiliate program. So yes, I do work with men.
Okay, so that's good to know. Yes.
Yeah.
So the topic is 11-day reset, flush fat, reduce stress, and gain energy. So that's the main topic. And I have so many questions for you here. Initial questions about health in general. What do you feel, from your perspective, is a healthy person should look like in a way or feel like? How would you describe what is to be healthy?
Well, I focus on mind, body, spirit, health. So the three dimensions. I grew up a gymnast at age 9 through college and elite training. So I was always into good nutrition, clean food. It was forced on me, basically, and I'm so grateful for it. But what I see today, it's just so sad. Statistics over the past 50 years, has just turned our food into just absolute illness, boxes, cans, bags. And it has produced so many bad health issues for all of us, chronic issues, cancer, disease. And that's one thing I really love educating women because they usually shop the groceries, they make the food. And right now, I'm sure you know this because you are in all this, Valeria, is the statistics of obesity for kids. 1 in 5 kids are considered obese. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Yeah.
That's true. That is very true. And education is the foundation, isn't it? We need to get to know more of what we put in our bodies, how the body functions.
Yes.
It's funny how a lot of people don't know how their own body functions.
Right. Right.
So we'll talk more about that in a moment. But another piece that you just mentioned is spirit. So body, mind, and spirit.
Mhm.
How do you integrate this knowledge, the wisdom that comes from the spirit aspect of being a human?
You know, I have been an intuitive type person my whole life. I get
Yeah.
intuition, I get winks, I get nods inside of me. And I believe we all have that capacity. We are born with it.
Mm,
It's just women get
right.
so busy doing all the juggling, wearing so many hats that they don't have time to step back and breathe and really just let their minds be open, sit by the ocean for 4 hours and reflect and think and write down things that come to mind. So the spiritual journey is different for everybody, for sure.
Mm,
Faith, everybody has their own faith foundation, but it's that aspect of it.
yes. So connecting to our intuition. I love that. That's a huge topic in itself that I won't dive
Mm.
into today. Maybe we'll
Mhm.
meet again for that.
Intuition and the earth and the earth,
Mm,
you know, the beauty that,
right.
we have surrounding us. Whether you love being at a beach listening to the ocean or sitting by a trickling river or just sitting in an open farm, wherever that happy place is for you, that's where you need to go to
Mm,
be inspired.
right. So what's the very starting point, Jeanette, when it comes to reducing toxins, and what is
Mhm.
the impact of that in the body and the mind?
So let's just look at the body. Our body is a temple and it was created to
Yeah.
work 100% correct all the time. But 50, 60 years ago, when McDonald's planted its first arches on our land and the sugar industry,
Yeah.
truly, it's all about money, follow the money. The sugar industry hijacked the food industry and started putting more chemicals, more dyes, more things that our body looks at as foreign. Our body doesn't recognize these substances. It recognizes true, organic foods grown in organic, dirt, but all the chemicals that are used on the plants and the produce and the cows that are sterilized and GMOs and you name it, it has just toxified
Yeah.
our food. And I just
Mm,
call it fake food because truly, if you shop in the interior part of a grocery store, not the exterior walls, which is where most of the natural stuff is, you're looking at boxes, cans, bags, and it screams to your children. They've, set it up that way. And you're buying stuff that the body is
yeah.
going, oh my gosh. So for women, especially menopausal and over, we start collecting this toxic buildup in our gut area. That's where the visceral fat is, and it gets larger and larger every year. Men too, because our organs just they don't want that stuff. It's too much. The liver can't detox that much. So the fat cells hold on to this junk in our body,
Mm,
trying to protect the organs. And when it gets to be where it starts seeping all over the body, that's when cancer grows and our body's acidic. So it's really, you really do have to go back to looking at where you buy your food.
that's the first step. Wow.
Hmm.
So it's basically going back to basics, right,
Yeah.
Jeanette, and
Yeah.
living a simple life in a way, right? Getting less sophisticated when it comes to food, no
Yeah.
boxes, or reading the labels. So education goes hand in hand with that.
Right.
How do we go? How do we go about like buying directly from organic farms? That's has been one a big interest of
Mhm.
mine. Buying directly, but in big cities we don't have access to them. It's not easy to find them.
Parts of the country, you can't find them either, different areas. You can find them in farm
Right,
belts, but so much of the public land has been taken over by chemicals, truly. Unless you are
right,
somebody that has your own
right.
plot of land and or you are an organic farmer, Um, it's tough. There are some companies out there, however, that you can order from that are organic. I use the word organic kind of loosely because you
Mm,
know
yeah.
the the point of is it organic, is it not organic, is really blurred today. So it's better than non-organic for sure, because if you're buying an apple and it's being
Yeah.
shipped in from Florida, to Oregon, and it takes, 3 weeks, they've injected it so that
Mm,
as it
yeah.
travels, the colors change. And the nutritional value, you'd have to eat like 20 apples today to get the same nutrients as 50 years ago when our
Wow.
grandparents ate apples. And that's startling. So you are what you absorb. We are what we eat, but it's really what we absorb.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah. So gut health is really crucial.
Oh, big time.
Ah,
Gut and brain go together. You can't separate them. Gut and brain go together.
right. So what's the best besides eating organic? Yeah, and going around there trying to find really clean foods to eat. But do you also suggest probiotics, taking supplements?
Yeah, I've always been a supplement taker, but all supplements aren't created
Yeah, me
equally.
too.
Most of the waste products, that they dig up in the sewers is their whole vitamins that just go through the body because they're not absorbed. So you do have to start
Right.
doing homework.
Ah,
And I've always looked for those
yes.
companies that are, clean sourced. They have studies, they have background in, 10, 20 years of goodness. And so you can follow these types of companies and go, okay, I know I'm safe here. So that's what I look for.
Yes, that's exactly what I do as well. Yeah, and I'm
Mhm.
very much aware of the depletion of nutrients in food. So I do have supplements for that reason too.
Absolutely.
What about protein? So that's another amazing topic when it comes to protein in women, especially that we don't eat enough protein, right? That's what I've heard. And well, I've been eating a lot of protein because I was in the fitness industry, competition and all that. So I kind of learned through that realm.
Right.
But for a regular person, what is your suggestion when it comes to eating, having more protein? And why is that important, Jeanette?
Okay. So, uh, women, here's the bottom line. You're eating a third of what you should be eating.
Yeah.
So if your goal weight is 150 pounds, let's say, then you need to be intaking every day 150 grams of
Yeah.
clean protein. Now, if you're a plant person, to get your protein from fava beans and, plant, you're going to get about an 80% absorption of that protein. Whereby if you buy clean fish, clean chicken, clean dairy, from, you know,
Yeah.
from farms that are, they don't inject hormones, etc., then
Right.
you're going to absorb like 90 to 95% of the protein. So
Right.
it's about the source of protein and it's about the amount of protein. Most women I work with in their 40s and over, we know that our muscle shrinks as we age. It starts to just shrink. And that's why you see elderly people hunched over because they don't have that framework anymore
Mm,
and they don't use resistance. So bands, soup cans. I
yes.
start women on soup cans. I taught fitness for 17 years as well. And so it's really an important part of this whole protein thing because protein equals muscle equals metabolism.
Yes.
And we need that metabolism humming at a high level to burn the calories that we eat every day.
Mm,
And
mm.
even after we're done eating and exercising, letting the body continue to burn those calories.
Yes.
Mhm.
Gosh. You see, this is a very important message, yeah, for women, especially because we tend
Yes.
not to eat enough and not enough protein. Right. So, what would be a good example of that, Jeanette? Like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I only eat twice a day.
Okay.
So, I train a lot pretty hard weight training. And then, but I don't eat, I eat a big meal, but those are big, but they're two. And
Okay,
I mean, it works for me. But what
right.
would you suggest for most people, women
Well,
especially?
every body is different. That's so true. But
Right.
if you want to get the metabolism revved, first thing in the morning, you need to be intaking at least a third of that protein. So for me, I found it easier to find a company that was clean source protein where I could put um, 3 scoops of the protein powder into a shake, and it's
Yeah.
got more nutrition than having 3 eggs, 5 pieces of bacon, 4 pieces of toast, a big bowl of fruit and vegetables. So I get the
Mm,
macros and the micros, and I get about 38 grams of protein right off the bat. That gets the metabolism moving first thing in the morning.
wow.
And then
Yeah.
I usually do a fork and plate meal, with 3/4 of it greens and all different colors of produce, and definitely protein
Yeah.
source that is, anywhere from 15 to 20 grams of protein, big piece of chicken or what have you. And, you know, pacing throughout the day, it's called protein pacing. There's awesome studies on this,
Mm,
but little bits of protein during the day, like a protein snack. I've got a list of 100 protein snacks for that I, give to people, and just keeping the metabolism going. Don't let the body go into starvation. If you wait too long between meals, then the body's like, oh, she's going to starve me again. So everything that you start eating, the body keeps and stores. So, I have obese women who eat 1 salad a day. Now they're eating 3 meals a day. They're
wow.
shrinking their waistline by 10 inches because their metabolism is working.
Wow.
They're gaining the muscle, and they're detoxifying, which we do with intermittent fasting and detoxing the body. They
Mm,
feel like $1 million 3 days later. And they're like, why didn't I know this before? So it's just
yes.
a matter of doing the
yes.
research or having somebody introduce it to you, honestly, because the government's not going to do it for us. They're going to keep us sick, and they're going to keep us going to the doctors to get
Mm,
treated, not cured. So big food and big pharma, it's a big problem.
ah, yes. So the focus is wellness and not illness. I love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Your
Oh,
focus in
prevention.
most people that I work with. Yes.
Prevention. You can spend a little more money up front on good nutrition and save
Mm,
yourself chronic illness and doctor visits and immobility. At 63, I'm so happy I can still do gymnastics with my 3 year
uh,
old granddaughter. There's a lot of
yes. Yeah.
grandparents that can't even get on the floor and play with their kids. So it's just a mission I'm on.
Yes, yeah, I love that. I mean, it's very inspiring. Yeah, seeing
Mhm.
you, you look great. You're so
Yeah.
energized, positive, and just doing this beautiful work of helping others. I mean, that's a beautiful model for young women. So we can kind of look at it and say, gosh, I want to be like that.
Yeah,
That's what we need more. So thank you
absolutely.
again, Jeanette, for being there.
Absolutely, because I've looked at women, some of my mentors in their age, and I haven't had any face, anything done. But I've used good,
Mm,
clean
yeah.
products since 1990, humectant based, not oil
Ah,
based, things like that. So I learned early on, inside out. Yeah.
mm, wow. Yeah, you look amazing. Really
Thank
amazing.
you.
Truly inspiring. So when it comes to vegan protein powders, I have a vegan one. So does it
Mhm.
matter if it is a vegan protein powder or versus the whey protein, or do you suggest vegan being a better
Well,
source?
we call ours plant based. There's a lot of botanicals,
Yeah,
adaptogens, and the veggies in there, but it just, if you are a vegan and you do not do milk sources or meat, fine, but just know that you're going to have to take more.
yeah,
And so the whole thing is, how do you balance calories and protein? The
yeah,
shake I make is under 300 calories. It's a full meal replacement, and I get a third of my protein. I have more muscle today than I did when I was competing in gymnastics, when I was training like a crazy lady. Seriously. and fitness training,
Wow.
training others.
That's amazing.
So it's because of the source of protein, the difference. And I don't work out nearly as
Mm,
much, but it's what you absorb.
yeah. What is your suggestion when it comes to exercise? What's the best one for muscle growth? We know strength training, but how do we
Right.
go about doing that, starting with that?
It's one step at a time. I always start women on the largest muscles in the body, which is from our waist down. So activating those large muscles first,
Oh,
your
yeah.
thighs, your quads, your hamstrings, the abdominal wall. So you don't have to use weights either. I mean, I have gals get bands, resistant bands. Go to, I don't know, Fred Meyer's or
Yes.
whatever Target, to get resistant bands, because you can start doing one set of 12 repetitions or two sets of 12 repetitions or
Oh,
what have you. And I always start with the trunk first and then the upper body, because women always complain about the chicken leg, or the turkey fat back there,
yes.
gobble, their shoulders gobble.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be that way. So
Yeah.
biceps, triceps, overhead presses. Yes. And it doesn't have to be at the gym. It can be at home. There's so many online, exercise courses, and
Mm,
on YouTube, whatever. I've got tons of like 1 minute videos where I show 4 different exercises. Go with that to start with. And it depends on your age, obviously.
yes.
And cardio, yes, but cardio is overrated. You can walk for 20 minutes a day, and at a good pace where it's harder to talk, but not too hard to talk, because you don't want to be anaerobic. You want to be aerobic, working the
Yeah.
heart. Stairmaster, walking hills. I love intermittent
Yeah.
exercise like fit, where you do frequency and intervals. So fit is really a great way to burn fat a lot faster.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
40 seconds of going for it,
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah.
But change your walk though, Valeria, because don't do the same thing every day. You've got to confuse the muscles in
Mm,
order for it to, get some response from the muscles. If you do the same thing over and over again, like a paradigm, you don't think about it, it's unconscious, and you just do it, say it, because that's what you learned when you were 7. So you've got to do lots of confusion. Yeah.
true. So true.
Yeah.
But walking's not enough, right, Jeanette? Because a lot
It's
of
not
women think
enough
that's enough.
based on what your goal is. Everybody's goal is different. They say
Right.
30 minutes of cardio a day, but if you can start with 20, if you can start with 10, for heaven's sakes,
Mm, yeah.
you just have to take that first step. And that's usually the hardest for women, is just thinking, I don't have time. You know what? If you don't make time, you don't have time.
Yeah.
And if you're not healthy, mama, nobody else in the family is going to be healthy, because really we're the Pied Piper in our household with regards to
Mm,
food and meals and
yes.
exercise. So be the example you want to, have as your legacy.
Mm,
Just put more pressure on working moms. That's so bad. I don't mean to do that. More pressure on working moms. What I'm telling
yes.
working moms to do is take care of yourself. You've got to take care of you first.
Yeah. I love that message too. That's another reminder for all of us. Yeah. It's really, it has to do with self love, right, Jeanette? Learning to love ourselves more. Do you connect those two, let's say, concepts, self care and self love? Are they
Yeah.
connected, or somehow they are different?
Well, in my 16-week training, I do. My first aspect is wellness, mind, body, spirit,
Yeah.
physical, how you eat. Second is business, learning social media, all that jazz. Third is wealth creation. So
Yeah.
people are getting a personal growth. You know, they're in a vessel of personal growth for 16 weeks to not only launch their own online business and make money,
Yeah.
but take themselves through a personal journey of growth. I find when women can see results with their body after they've been neglecting it for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and they can
Mm,
see results within the first 11 days, which is why I do the 11-day reset, because it's proven. We've got
yeah,
millions of customers in this company that have gotten results. And so when you detox your body, you're going to feel better. You're going to wake up on day 3 and go, oh, my brain isn't foggy anymore.
right,
I'm actually sleeping better. I have more energy during the day because you're getting rid of all that stuff that's just bearing down in your body.
right. Gosh. So I love that it's really holistic, your approach, right, Jeanette? It's not
Completely.
just, like you
100%.
said, body, mind, spirit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
everything's included.
Absolutely.
So I know you're offering to the audience, it's that 11-day reset, check the pantry first.
I do the 11-day reset every month. So, women can join anytime, and it's online virtual.
Oh,
I offer it free of charge,
oh, wonderful.
so they're saving a couple $100, but I just want to get women on the right pathway, showing them that there is easier options to get the protein, to get clean food than they think.
Mm, yeah. So your main training program, it's called Pivot. Is that the one?
Oh,
PIVOT? And it
uh-huh.
looks like an acronym. Is that an acronym?
It's not an acronym. It's really a trick that we did in gymnastics. You do a pivot, either a 180
Yeah.
pivot on the beam or floor, and or a 360
Yeah.
pivot. So this is a 360 pivot for women who really are sick of corporate. They want their own business.
Yeah.
So it transitions them into a full entrepreneur with a body they love and a life they love.
Right. Right. Wow. That sounds wonderful. That's on your website. So I'll have here too
Yeah.
the website link. Yeah, I do have JeanetteLowry.com. So that will be on the podcast notes as
Okay.
well. So you also have master classes and lots of free resources there. I was
Cool.
looking at
Mhm.
them. So you offer a lot on your website.
Okay.
So I'll have that here. Another thing that caught my attention, it was within your programs, you also include stress management. So that's
Mhm.
a very important one. Is that something
Mm.
that comes after we start detoxing and exercise and then automatically stress management just sets
Yeah.
in? Or this is something that you teach?
I teach that too.
Yeah.
Part of the
Yeah.
first wellness, 7 weeks in the wellness program modules. Stress is such a big thing because stress, cortisol, which is one of the main stress hormones that affect anybody that is
Yeah.
working in a fight or flight frenzy every day. Women, we are so guilty of this. And what happens is that cortisol keeps us fat. Cortisol raises the fat tendency
Ah,
to cling to the body. So, working from protein, stress management through adaptogens, they have been, used for hundreds of years. It goes back to our, forefathers using plants as healing mechanisms.
mm,
But
yeah.
adaptogens are just plants that grow in different areas of the world that adapt to the environment. So if we're taking adaptogens like in an elixir or a drink, and our body is highly stressed, cortisol's raised, it helps to bring the cortisol level down immediately.
Ah,
If you're really
yes.
sluggish and just trying to get through, it raises, just to that midpoint. It raises your energy level up. So cortisol is a huge thing, and adaptogens, there's so many of them, but when you get them clean sourced and they actually can be absorbed into the body, and the science shows it, and the studies, third party studies, research studies prove it, then there's no arguing. So that's one stress. Yoga is another one. Um,
Yeah, I love that.
Imagery, mental imagery. I like doing, thinking through uh, positive reflections in the brain, canceling out anytime you have something toxic or negative that you say to yourself, which is mostly what we do all day long. Why did you do that? Oh, that was so
Right.
dumb. Things like that. It's like you've got to figure out a way to cancel it. So I've always used for 30 plus years, when I hear myself saying something, cancel, cancel.
Yeah.
And then I reformulate that into a positive. So it's constantly being aware, because we run on subconscious, unconscious all day long.
Mm.
It's just how we operate, until you can tap into making those changes, recognizing it first, and then making those changes.
Wow, I love that. I love that component of
Yeah.
psychology, right? Now we are talking
Mhm.
about the mind and how it operates.
Oh,
Right. Yes, yes, yes. A billion times that part of it, your program.
biohacking,
Yes.
yes, that you can remake pathways in the brain. One of the books I read
Mm,
34 years ago, 40 years ago, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, Dr. Daniel Amen.
mm, yeah.
That book changed my life, thinking and knowing that our brain, we control it. We control it with what we put in our bodies, what we say to it. So
Yes.
that was a fabulous book. And he's had many since.
Yeah, it really does because it's part of the body, right? How it works. And a lot of that's what we were talking before about knowing oneself, knowing how the body
Hmm.
operates. So that
Hmm.
is that takes some serious work because we need to pause. If that's what you
Yes,
suggested in the beginning too, that we pause. We need
yes,
to do
yes.
more of meditation, perhaps. Do you recommend meditation,
Oh,
mindfulness?
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But you've got to have an environment that, allows for that. So
Mm,
you've got to carve out that sanctuary in your home or wherever it is, in your car. I used to do it in my closet when I had two young
yes.
kids. It was like the only place I could get away. So you do have to carve
Yeah.
out a place
Yeah.
and just make it specific for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading your bio. You talked about embracing graceful aging. That really, it's beautiful the way you phrase that here. So all that you have been talking about, everything that you do has to do with embracing aging gracefully. What
Mhm.
are other components? I wonder if creativity is part of that, Jeanette. Do you also bring that into the your programs or suggestions that we become more creative?
I do that through first, one of the first things I do in the first couple weeks is to create a vision board,
Ah,
you
yeah,
know,
yes,
putting on this, cardboard or whatever, uh, those things that they think
yeah.
about, they dream about, they wish for. Doesn't matter if it's monetary or not. It's just you want a board so that you've got it in front of you every day to be able to look at it. That's one of the things that keeps the mind going through looking at one item or one area on the board,
Mm,
and you can start dreaming again, creating. That's one area, but also find a passion that you've had.
mm,
What are you passionate about? Is it dogs? Is it art? Is it See, I did all that stuff when I was retired for 20 years. I was blessed. So I love art. I love crafts. And so I just started exploring
mm,
and
yeah.
started selling things just to friends or making gifts, and ended up making tables. It was like craziness, but
Ah,
it was
wow.
because it was passion
Yes.
for me and it kept my brain going. Puzzles. If you're slowly losing that, quick brain reaction, start doing puzzles, crossword puzzles. It makes you think.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So always in a way use it, you heard about that saying that says if you don't use it, you lose it. And I
Absolutely.
think there's some truth, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Mind, body. Yeah.
I agree. Oh my God, Jeanette. I love this, the piece about dreaming, because I think as we get older,
Mm.
we kind of let go of that, right? The childlike, the
Yes.
imagination,
Yes.
the ability to imagine and dream
Mhm.
again. And that's kind of sad. But that's to me, that's totally part of about aging gracefully, that you still have
Absolutely.
dreams and you want to live them.
There's women out there that have dreams that they've buried. I believe we all have been gifted with
Yes.
some seed of just awesomeness that we are meant to share with the world.
Yes.
When you get stuck in the grind, 9 to 5, the rat race, the family, all the stuff that goes along with it, you just bury it. And
Yes.
unless you make that decision that you are worth more than the hourly wage or the salary you're being paid, you know that you've got something in there, but it just has to come out so that you can just brand it, excite people with it, and monetize.
Mm,
You can change the world. It takes one person to create that ripple effect. And that's what I've seen that with the industry I'm in, that is just miracles upon miracles, with
mm,
families and kids
yes.
who have, dropped 50 pounds and they're not diabetic anymore. Can't make claims. We don't cure, treat any of that. But when you feed your body with good, clean nutrition, which is the starting place, it's not the gym,
Right.
it's the mind making the decision and then the choices of what you put in your body. That's where it starts.
Mm. So mentoring really helps, right? Coaching. I noticed that. I
Yeah,
just find coach is so inspiring, they just really ignite the heart again in a way, the
yeah.
soul. There's something about coaches. I love them.
I've had coaches my whole life. I mean,
Mm,
from gymnastics, age 9. So I love coaches, mentorship, community,
yes, me
like-minded
too.
people that are merged together, going after their personal goals, but it's within a, vacuum of the whole.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Gosh, that's it. That's it. That's it. A billion times to that. So we're almost at the end. I want to ask you a question about this idea of purpose,
Mhm.
having a purpose. How passion and purpose, are they one and the same when it comes to living our dreams, callings? They are different names. How do you see this idea of living one's purpose? Do we have one purpose in life or perhaps many?
I think we have a core purpose. I mean, at least for me, I have a core purpose, and it's got a lot of legs to it,
Right.
which draws the passions, you draw your passion into that purpose.
Mm,
But I
yeah.
think I think you need to focus solely on a purpose, your big why. You've got to have a why to drive that purpose.
Right.
And the why can be as simple as, I never want to miss my kids getting off the school bus. That could be your why for making the changes that you desire. And then the big
Yeah.
purpose behind that is, you want your kids to grow up with mom at home, with meals on the table, with schoolwork being done, no latchkey kids. So it everybody's different.
That's true.
But that was my why. So I'm speaking from myself. But you may have a why that you want to change the world in medicine,
Mm,
you
yeah.
know? You want to create that next scientific.
Yes, yeah. What about that purpose of yours, like this core? I love that, having the core purpose. Did that change for you or is that still the same?
Same,
That never changed, right,
never
Jeanette?
changed. Everything I've done in my life has been with the big core. Is mine is changing families, getting family units to work.
Yes.
So that's my
Yeah.
long term.
Mm,
When you grow up in a family with divorced parents and it's chaotic, and I'm the eldest daughter, I grew up very fast with 6 kids, and I became a mom really early. And I I love my
yeah.
family. My mother is deceased. She was one of my mentors. My father inspired me into entrepreneurship. But you know what? Families today are being bombarded with so much more than I did when I was growing up, you know, in the 60s and 70s. Neighborhoods are different. So
Right.
there's so much more on the line for families today than ever before. So I just want a way for moms to be home, to make the money they deserve, and be able to be there for aging parents, perhaps, if their kids are grown,
Yeah.
or kids.
Yeah. So it's very clear and you never lost track of that. It's
No.
always the goal.
Mhm,
That's beautiful.
mhm.
I love that clarity because that says a lot about some people call the soul's journey, the soul's purpose.
Mhm,
So that's very
mhm.
clear to me that
Yeah.
you're here to help people in this specific area. We are all
Yeah,
different,
and what
as you
can we
said.
do to layer on top of each other those things for which will help
Right.
that woman or man, make those changes that are necessary to get from point A to point Z.
Right. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. Thank you so much for your beautiful service here to humanity
Oh,
in the way you do it specifically. I just live for that. I don't know why exactly. I try not to ask too many questions when it comes like, why doing this? But there's something about humans helping one another that really reflects what life is all about. Life
absolutely.
supporting itself.
Mhm.
It's just beautiful to see.
My mom always said, be a giver, not a taker.
Right.
That's resonated with me my entire life. So, yes, my website is myname.com.
Yes. Yeah. So JeanetteLowry.com. I'll have it
Mhm.
here. Before we say goodbye for today, Jeanette, is there anything that you left unsaid that you'd like the audience to know, people who watch
I
this
love
video?
you, Valeria. You are just awesome.
Love
I
you
think that
too.
we are soul sisters somewhere in our past because you and I can resonate. We
Um,
could talk for
mm,
hours, I have a feeling. So I really appreciate what you're up to, putting this
yes.
in the public domain on podcasts so that many more people can, you know, chew on the ideas and, maybe start looking at their
Mm.
life and implementing change. So.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much again for saying yes to this. And yes, we could talk forever because gosh, I say that all the time. How do I say goodbye to people that I
I
love
know,
talking
I know.
about? I just keep my teams in mind. The interview should be this, mark for marketing purposes. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so before we say goodbye for today, I have the question about freedom. What is your idea of freedom? What is to be free? From any perspective, what
Mhm.
what would that be like to be free?
Well, it's to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want, and wherever you want. And that truly comes with leverage income. And I've been able to be blessed by
Mm,
that. So I just have a craving for other people to be able to understand and live that because it's available.
yes.
It's not just for the rich people who have money. It's for everybody that has a dream in their heart, a purpose, and they want a mission.
Mm,
They just need some
mhm.
marching orders.
Yes. Oh, I love to hear that. And I know all of us love to be reminded of that it is possible because sometimes we forget that too, right? That kind
Mhm,
of freedom is possible, right?
mhm,
Thank you
mhm.
so much again for your presence,
You're
Jeanette,
welcome.
and for our collaboration, for our conversation today. And we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again.
Absolutely.
Bye for
Thank you
now.
so much, Valeria. Bye-bye.
Thank you.